want this house to look the same as it does now in 40 years. So as we walk through the house, we're going to talk a lot about how do we maximize that revenue dollar, not just what we can get from each reservation, but how do we get you those 2 or 3 extra reservations per year that's going to push your investment up to that next level.
Even though this is a piling house and this isn't a slab that the house is built on, what we did here is a grade beam system. It prevents wind from scouring the sand away from the slab and undermining and eroding it.
When you're thinking about building these houses, if it's going to be vacation rental, you have to always be thinking about how does this property show up online? How does it show up in a video? How does it show up on Airbnb, VRBO?
We went with the tile instead of something like LVP or engineered hardwoods because, again, longevity is the theme of this house. And then, of course, what you really came here for, the view.
Hi everybody, Brian Harris here with Harris Projects. I'm here with Tim Evans, our lead contractor. Just wanted to tell you a little bit of our unique offering here with Harris Projects. We've got the business side that we've honed with over a decade down here on the coast running Harris Vacations. We've combined that with the expertise on the construction side with Tim's full career in construction. And we're just bringing some really unique aspects to the construction down here on the Gulf Coast.
One of the first things we'll start with is probably one of the most important, even though this is a piling house and this isn't a slab that the house is built on. What we did here is a grade beam system. So we have a 2-foot turn down that is a 16-inch footer right here. This serves a dual purpose. It prevents wind from scouring the sand away from the slab and undermining and eroding it. But also this is 2 foot thick and 16 inches wide and filled with rebar. So that grade beam takes the place of the old X-braces that you saw in between pilings years ago and helps to prevent shear and sway in the house.
We had a geotech survey. Where do we need that piling to stop? Because it's not just sand all the way down. There's marshes, there's all kind of stuff underneath the soil.
It's an ultrasound of the ground basically that tells us what is the dense most material. And so that dense most material is where we tip out our piling at so that we're seated in that material so that we minimize movement, shrinking, sinking. We're not saying it won't ever happen because we got that survey, but this will minimize anything that happens from that.
All right, so one of the things that we wanted to go over is choosing upgraded materials. We want this house to look the same as it does now in 40 years. Instead of using a natural pine 1x material that's going to warp and bend, we're using a Burrell board, a concrete composite material that's going to last a lot longer.
Piggybacking on what you said, Brian, this material right here will have basically 0 maintenance costs over the life of it. The only maintenance cost to upkeep this will be when we repaint the house. When the paint starts to fail, we'll repaint, but this material will not fail. It will not warp, it will not sag, it's not gonna break, it's not gonna go anywhere. Beautiful upgrade to the house. So this is an additional upgrade that we did in the concrete, is we put in these keyways here. So this keyway is basically a small galvanized aluminum fin that is meant to control cracking in the concrete. So instead of your traditional saw cuts, we put in these keyways and they force all of our concrete to crack along the keyway and not out from the piling's edge or anything like that. This will minimize cracking. Concrete is going to crack. You're not going to totally take it away, but this very much minimizes it as much as possible. So I want to talk about something that we did here to make the house stronger and last longer. We went with a framing system called box framing. Now your traditional framing system is stack framing. So you've got your girder, you've got your joists, and they stack on top of each other. So what we did to add shear strength to the home was we went with a box framing. So if you come in here and look up, I'm not very tall, so you have to bear with me. These are the floor joists, and these are our girders right here. So we dropped our floor joists down inside our girder system and suspended them off of these stainless steel hangers. All right, so that gave us tremendous amounts of shear strength for the home. So basically when a hurricane comes, water inundates the area, whatever, this house will suffer minimal movement due to that shear strength in the home, along with several of the other upgrades we mentioned, like the grade beams and the concrete and things like that.
So we're down here under the house. We really wanted to utilize this space as an extra living entertainment space. We're gonna have a bar height place right here. This will have outdoor furniture. We'll have a TV mounted here. So this will be a space that you can utilize on a nice day, nice night to watch the game, watch the movies, you know, a little outdoor movie action.
We wanted to kind of continue the theme with the barrel. This is obviously not fully complete yet, but as with the bar top over there, that'll be the countertop material that is inside the home. This will also be the countertop material that is inside the home that will wrap around this. So you'll have a nice area for food prep. You'll have water right there. We'll have a fire extinguisher mounted here. Big, nice, beautiful grill, focused on the longevity, rental friendly, maintenance friendly aspect. This is easily replaceable if it ever fails.
In every construction project, you're gonna have that 2% that just doesn't quite fit into any sub's, you know, actual job description. And this is just a little extra touch that, you know, Harris Projects is gonna have done for your project.
Let's talk about the way we did this pool. The industry standard is a 6-inch pool wall. We've got 9-inch pool walls. The industry standard is a 12-inch pool floor. We've got a 16-inch pool floor. The first thing you said to me was, I want this house to last 40 years when we build it. And this is a 40-year pool. Then another upgrade that we did out here, these are welded aluminum handrails. So we don't have any click-in mechanical parts like your normal traditional mechanical handrail. These are professionally powder coated, you know, all welded parts together. We don't have any brackets here at the foot. This post isn't sitting in. This is a welded tab that's bolted into the structure below. The same thing with the attachment points. This is an aluminum. This is not a piece of plastic. Traditional Galvalume roof, 26 gauge. It's got exposed fasteners, exposed panel edges. What we did here was a standing seam roof, so there are no exposed fasteners, and this also has a much higher wind rating than your standard Galvalume roof. This roof is rated 160 mile per hour and above. This thing will last a really long time and stand up to what comes out of the Gulf hurricane.
One of the things that we do is work with vendors that we trust, because in a job, there's just gonna be things that happen.
We've talked a lot about building for longevity and maintenance friendly and all that stuff. And one of the ways we do that is we work with really good subs. When you work with a good sub, they take responsibility and they fix it. Here's another upgrade that we did in this house. And this is a pretty common upgrade that you see, is the nickel gap on the walls. Something that we did different here is we actually put drywall behind our nickel gap. Now this does one of two things. Helps with a thermal barrier between the exterior of the home and the backside of this. So what we don't want is for this to fail and split and, you know, cup or warp, but also we don't want mold or condensation to build up behind this when we don't have that thermal barrier that's created by the drywall.
We're here in the kitchen. We made a few upgrades here. One of the things that we did is we chose all wood cabinetry, so there's no particle board in these. We don't want these to fail after a few years, so we upgraded to all wood. This house is 8 bedrooms. This is a big house. So we've got a big sink, we've got 2 dishwashers. A lot of times there's a fashion to put the microwave down below. We don't want the microwave low because we don't want a child to put something in there that might damage the microwave or cause some kind of other issues. So we want that elevated in a rental situation. We've also got an oven here. And then when we come back over here, we've got another oven cooktop independent of that one. So if we have some kind of oven failure, we've got a backup in its place.
Another thing that we did kitchen appliance wise, a side-by-side fridge, freezer, stand-up counter depth. Feedback from the rental company was they want ice maker, water dispenser in the door. We actually have this refrigerator, but because this house is so large, a secondary fridge. This one also has a water dispenser, ice maker in the door. And then to top that off, we have a recirculating ice maker that's gonna go in right here. So you'll be able to get all the ice that you want. A laundry room here on the first floor, as well as a laundry room up on the second floor, so that we can service all of these people as well.
We're in one of the bedrooms, and this isn't something you have to do, but from a vacation rental side, we wanted to do an accent wall. You can see here we've got the nickel gap. You have to always be thinking about, how does this property show up online? How does it show up in a video? How does it show up on Airbnb, VRBO? That's what's gonna set it apart. So we have a little pop of color here. This is a small thing, but a big thing. The execution of the installation is what I wanted to highlight. We've got a box here, making sure all the air comes through the filter. The filter is in a situation where it's very easy to change this filter. This installation and how quality it is allows you to get that long-lasting effect.
We upgraded our subfloor throughout the home. So you have a couple of options there with subfloor. You've got traditional plywood, you've got the Advantech products. Traditionally, a subfloor is 3/4 of an inch thick. In this instance, we went with the Advantech upgrade to 1 1/8 inch subfloor. So that helps with structural strength, shear strength, the durability of the home. We chose to go with tile throughout the house. We didn't just install tile on our subfloor. We didn't put this on Durock. We actually actually put this on an uncoupling membrane. You might have seen it before. It's orange. It looks like a honeycomb. It's called Detramat. We installed that throughout the home, and that helps with flexibility and movement and keeping the tile from popping up. To complement the tile floors here on all of our stairs, we went with a white oak stair tread, and this is just a simple clear coat over the top of it, and it complements our tile plank throughout the house very well.
One of the things that we like to do in these larger, what I call mega homes, so we've taken a little bit of a dead space and we're going to make a second living area out of it. So we'll have some couches, maybe some beanbag chairs. We'll have a TV up here. All right, so we're sitting here on, again, the top floor. We've got an elevator right here. When you have these multi-generational homes, one of those generations is probably going to be in a situation where they may require an elevator or just appreciate an elevator.
We're still here on the second floor of the home, and we've got matching primary suites here with the view. This focus is a little bit different than what you saw with the nickel gap. We did a 5-panel wainscot right here. We didn't have a traditional closet in this room, so what we did was we built this beautiful cabinetry piece, hanging space, closet right here, drawers underneath to put everything away. I don't know if you put your stuff away when you go on vacation, but some people do. And then of course, what you really came here for, the view. Here we are in our primary ensuite. We went with a single vanity here and lots of counter space. We also did the knee bench right here for a makeup vanity right here. Our countertop material from our vanity will continue on to our curb top right here in our shower, and it will also go right here on the bottom of our niche. And then we will have the floor tile in the back of the niche with the wall tile taking the 3 sides right there. And then all of our fixtures are brushed bronze, so you can see the trim profile rail we've got here and the cabinet hardware. So all of that together is going to be really beautiful. We've got this Go board. We've got the Go board sealant. This is a Kerdi membrane band tying us into the drywall. On our mud bed, a Kerdi band, a Kerdi membrane on top of it, and then this is the Kerdi Schluter foam curb. This is an example of proper waterproofing techniques. Here we are in another one of our bedrooms with the nickel gap. With this running vertically, there is no blocking in between the studs for this to be nailed to. Every piece that hit between a stud was basically just glued and nailed to the drywall, which meant potentially down the road we could have some issues with this cupping and warping. We removed this and redid it, and when we redid it, we actually blocked this out with nailing strips every 24 inches along the wall so that we could prevent that from happening in the future. We didn't have to do that, but it was the right thing to do, so that's what we did.
As we're out here on the outside, we're going to look at some of the trim work that we chose to do. This just provides a little bit of extra oomph for the house. Again, it's all about how the property looks online. How do the pictures look? How do the videos look? Getting people to make that first booking, and then they're going to come back year after year to be a long-term guest. Tim, can you talk about how y'all did the custom woodwork?
Yeah, so we have these awnings that stick off the front of the house, and in the structural drawings, they really just had, you know, a painted bracket up there. Went and talked to my lumber supplier, and I said, hey, what material can we get these in? And he said, we got treated pine or cedar. So we were making these by hand on a bandsaw. So I said, let's order it in the cedar. We got it out here. We went to put it up, and we were like, let's just put a clear satin finish on this. And I mean, look at the end result. What a beautiful aesthetic that was to the front of the house.